1/3 of their bill, the HEROES Act, is spending completely unrelated money to the virus. Here are just a few of the policies in their extreme left bill. And again, this is a bill supported by Biden, and Biden is totally controlled now by the Bernie Sanders left wing of the party, and in fact, he's gone further left than Bernie Sanders ever dreamt of going. So obviously, other than Bernie have brought him left. If you look at the manifesto that they've agreed to, it's far further left than I've ever heard anything about Bernie Sanders. The massive taxpayer bailout of badly run blue states we talked about. That's one of the things they're looking to do. Measures designed to increase voter fraud. Banning voter ID. They want to ban voter ID. We should have voter ID in every state. Every state should have voter ID. You have ID on everything you do practically. Everybody has voter ID. Everybody has ID except for voters. When you vote, you don't want ID. They don't want it. We have some states with it. It works out great. And if you want to stop fraud in elections, have voter ID. They want measures designed to increase voter fraud, which is banning voter ID in all states and banning requirements for signature verification in federal elections. Now, why would they want, in this bill, which really has nothing to do with what we're talking about, stimulus, something banning voter ID in every single state? They want to ban it, including states where we already have it, because we have some states where we have it. Indiana and others that do very well. Why would they want to ban voter ID in all states? And why would they want to ban requirements for signature verification in federal election? Who would want a bill banning signature verification? What's that all about? You know what it's about? Fraud. That's what they want, fraud. They want to try and steal this election because, frankly, it's the only way they can win the election. The bill also requires all states to do universal mail-in balloting, which nobody's prepared for, regardless of whether or not they have the infrastructure. They want to steal an election. That's all this is all about. They want to steal the election. So in the bill, they have a bill that requires all states to do universal mail-in balloting, regardless of whether or not they have the infrastructure. Like in Nevada, it's such a disaster. Their infrastructure is a total disaster. They don't want to have signature verification. They don't want to have any of the safeguards that you need. And they don't want to have safeguards that are so common and so basic, and even other states that we disagree with have. This Nevada thing is a mess, but we'll see how the courts determine what the courts determine. But they certainly don't have the infrastructure in Nevada. So we'll see how it is. As you know, we brought suit last week, and we'll see how that all works out. I think we're going to win it. But basically what they're trying to do with all of these requirements, including no signature verification, they're trying to steal an election. And I was in Ohio, I was in Texas, I was in Florida over the last 4 or 5 days, and if you would see the crowds along the highways and the roadways, people have said they've never seen anything like it. And they haven't seen anything like it, and the press doesn't report it because they're fake news. They even want to force states to implement the controversial practice known as ballot harvesting, very dangerous practice, meaning they would allow Democrat Party operatives to deposit thousands and thousands of completed ballots at the post office without any verification of who filled them out, including a verification of signatures on the ballot. So you're not even going to have a verified signature. Anybody, I could sign it, you could sign it, anybody in this room could sign it, and that's going to count as a vote. How can you do a thing like this? So this is what they're asking for. This is what Nancy Pelosi and crying Chuck Schumer are asking for. Okay, that's ridiculous.